what would you say to those people who believe the allegations, think this is true, but think that we can separate David Huss's behavior from his music, the music that they still enjoy and they want to use? What would you say to people who feel that way about it?
I would say their enjoyment should not be their first concern. Their first concern should be these women who have been harmed by this man. I get it. I played, lots of David's music. I sang as well in my church, lots of David's music. I've sang them at family funerals. So I understand that personal connection to his songs. But for me, it was more important to be in solidarity with these women than it was to have to wipe out, my whole collection of his stuff. I think we have to look at what the priority is, and the priority shouldn't be, well, I like his music. The priority should be this man intentionally used his music for 4 decades to manipulate and harm women. And if we can look at it that way, there is no justification for singing his music ever again. And as I said as well, he made his living off of this music. At the same time, he made these women's lives hell. And I don't want to see him get another dime. I don't think he deserves that. And this may be one of the few consequences that David experiences from the harm that he's done. And so I would just say that we have to put victims, survivors at the forefront. We always have to do that. And honestly, as a church, we've not done that well. We haven't done it well in the sexual abuse by priest. And it's just time for us to say victims and survivors have to be at the forefront of the decisions we make about these kind of issues.
Thank you. Margaret, is there anything you would like to add to that?
Yeah, I was saying before that, it could be like your cantor, it could be the lady sitting next to you. It could also be one of your friends and you don't know. And, if a priest is credibly accused of misconduct and removed from ministry, nobody expects or asks the survivors to read his homilies in Mass. Mm-hmm. Nobody expects the survivors to sit and listen while somebody else reads them. He used the music to gain access, mm-hmm. power, and influence over many, many, I would argue pretty much all of the survivors. So the question that somebody who feels like they must have this music is why you would want something with those connotations. Mm-hmm. Why you would want to take that risk.
Margaret, I would also say that for other survivors of sexual abuse who know about this, for me now, certainly I had a personal connection with David, but for me, there are my own triggers now. Mm-hmm. By the idea that my church is continuing to, they've acknowledged, they say they believe women, but they're not doing anything about it. And so it leaves all survivors in a place of like, well, they say they believe me, but do they really? And so then we go back and start questioning ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so yes, certainly at the forefront are his victims, but anybody who has had an experience or who's surviving from sexual abuse can be triggered by this whole entire situation.
Mm-hmm. And as music ministers, we are weaving the music that we present to people, that we present in Mass, into the very fabric of people's lives. When you're doing a song and somebody chooses it for their wedding, for their funeral, you're making that have a presence. You're putting that composer in a position of leadership in people's lives. You are serving it to them. So think about what you would serve to your guests in the Lord's house. And if this is what you want to serve, and it's particularly a problem in the diocese where there hasn't been enough publicity because people don't know.